So ready.
We are live. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co host, Will Cohen. We're going to have Collin joining us in a little bit. Whenever he's done playing Fortnite, he'll hop in. But we're going to be sitting here for about an hour or so ahead of tonight's game against the Detroit Red Wings. That game starts at 7:30, so we're about an hour and a half away from puck drop. We'll be chatting with you guys, answering your questions, sharing our thoughts. So as everyone starts to join the stream, be sure to comment in the live chat. We'll pull your comments up, discuss how you feel about your thoughts and all that good stuff. But before we really start getting into things, Will, it's our second podcast episode of the day together. How are you doing since the last 2 hours?
The last 2 hours I've been studying. And I got on a space too because I was bored. I finished studying and I was just super bored. So I got on a space.
I know it happens. But we're here to discuss the New York Rangers against the Detroit Red Wings. Actually, the last live stream we did on the channel was the last time we played the Red Wings. So we're back to do it again. I didn't mean to do that. It's going to be weird when you look on our live and it's just back-to-back Red Wings games, just 3 weeks apart, though. But I am excited for tonight's game. The last game against Buffalo was probably one of the most frustrating games I've ever watched as a Rangers fan. Especially after I wasn't able to watch the win against Boston. I was itching for some good Rangers hockey, and they did not provide me with that. All they did was have a goal taken away by a hand pass that wasn't a hand pass, and then they lost by a lot, and I didn't have a good time. But I'm excited for tonight. I know that the Rangers can't win every game. They are going to take some losses, and hopefully the Rangers are going to be able to bounce back tonight. So I'm confident heading into it. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I'm confident too. I think, last Igor's getting the nod again, and he wasn't very happy with his performance against the Sabres. Obviously, you saw he slammed his stick against the glass while he was leaving the ice. So I think he'll have a good game. I think the guys are going to rebound great. Obviously, Adam Fox is back, and he'll be back on the power play one with and on the first line with Lindgren. So I have a good feeling about this game.
Yeah, I do too. Pavel's back in the chat. How you doing? Let's go Rangers, bro. Yes, of course. Let's go Rangers. I think the first big thing that I want to discuss about ahead of tonight's game is the return of Adam Fox. It's been 27 days. He's missed 10 games, out with a lower body injury, but he's back. So I'm very excited. He's easily the Rangers' best defenseman. I'm surprised that the Rangers I don't know if I'm surprised, but I'm happy that the Rangers defense has been able to keep things going well without Fox, but him coming back should be a huge difference.
Nope.
What?
Did you ask me a question?
I didn't ask you a question. I just talked about Fox. If you want to talk about Fox.
Oh, my bad. I thought I froze for a second. I apologize there. I think Adam Fox coming. What is he? He has. I gotta think about how many points he had. He was doing obviously he was doing really good before he got injured.
He has 3 goals and 8 assists.
Yeah, 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points, which ranks 8th on the Rangers, or I guess 7th because 2 guys are tied. I think he's going to help a lot. Obviously, you get Schneider back with Gustafsson. Even though Zach Jones wasn't playing bad, we all know that Gustafsson is a little bit of a better defenseman than Jones, putting up points as well. Obviously, because he's a more established guy. So it kind of balances out the lineup a little more now that Fox is back, and Lindgren hasn't been playing his best hockey with Gustafsson. So Fox and Lindgren both feed off each other. So I think Lindgren will have a bounce back game as well because he did not look very good against Buffalo.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. We got Edwin here in the chat that says, "Go Fireside." Hey, is Kane facing against the Rangers tonight? I don't think he is, right?
No, Kane is not in the lineup tonight. The first time he'll get into Detroit's lineup will be next week. They want to give him a little bit of practice in their system and everything, get him comfortable before they just throw him out in the fire.
Yeah, I see here on Twitter, Dan Rosen said, Patrick Kane said he's hoping to make his Red Wings debut within the next 7 to 10 days. He said he feels good enough to play tonight, but he will get in some practices and get acclimated before playing in a game. And yeah, Pavel, I see you said here he did practice with them, but I don't think he's going to be playing tonight. I think it's pretty much confirmed. He does need to practice a little bit.
Yeah. They also made a jersey for him. It's in the locker room, but the Red Wings, someone asked the Red Wings admin, they were like, is he going to play? And they straight up just said no. Just no.
I mean, I think even when we traded for Kane, it was in like the middle of like a little bit of a break. So there was still like a few days before. It wasn't like he got traded and then the next day he made his Rangers debut, which is understandable.
Yeah, I think when he got traded to us, we had a game. I can't remember who it was against, and then we played the Senators. Oh, it was we played the Senators at home, and everyone thought that was going to be his Rangers debut, but he didn't play in that game. He played in the next. I can't remember who it was, but he played in that next. It might have been against the Canadiens, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm happy that Kane is not playing tonight because that would have been like the typical Rangers fashion. Like we let Kane go, then he finally, after missing the first month of the season, signs with the team, and then comes in and scores like a hat trick on us or something. I see Collin is attempting to enter. There he is. 1 second here.
What's going on?
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, welcome, Collin. Did you win Fortnite?
Oh, of course.
No, you're such a liar.
I sent it in
No,
the
he
chat.
did. He sent it in the group chat. He did. He won. He won.
Yeah.
Okay, you're forgiven for being late. But
Timothy.
Roderick here says, "Hey everyone, no more bleeping injuries." I agree. Capo Caco, I hope you are okay. And even though I sometimes am very harsh on him, I love Caco with all my heart. He's one of my favorite Rangers. And they said the injury wasn't season ending, which I guess is a good thing. So we'll hopefully be able to see him play before the playoffs start. But Collin, I'll just pass it off to you since you just got here.
Yeah, no, when I was at that game and when he went down, I was a little concerned. But it's good to hear that he's not going to be out too long. Obviously, he's still on the LTIR just for the cap relief. So it sucks that we're losing him for any amount of time. But as long as he comes back this season, I mean, that's a win in my book. Because to take away from another year of development for him could really hamper him.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the injuries, they're stacking up this season. Will, you probably would have the answer to this question. Like, how many games have the Rangers played this season with nobody injured? Because I feel like there's been someone out with injury at least once in like almost every game this season.
All right, I got to think about this one. I got to look at their lineup. Ryan, I think it might have been only 3 games, 4 games. When did Ryan Lindgren get injured? First game?
Early. It was very early on.
November 14th. Nope.
Was he the first one to miss? I thought he was. I guess Hedl and Fox went down same game. So yeah.
Hedl and Fox went down on November 2nd against Carolina.
Yeah, they've missed 20. They missed 20 games combined. I think I think Lindgren. Wait, I have it. Fuck. 1 second. Ryan Lindgren has missed. I think he's only played in 13. No, it wasn't 13 games.
I don't know. Me and Collin pulled up while you figure this out. Will get back to work.
Okay, wait. He's only missed 1 game, so I think the Rangers have played like 5-6 games with fully healthy lineups. 6 games, I think. 5 games? No, 5 games. 5 games.
That's crazy.
8.
We're 14-5-1 too, and that's with all the injuries. Imagine what happens when everyone's healthy, and then we're just absolutely cooking. Probably won't happen though because Kako's out for like 20 years probably, but
hopefully not too long.
I guess we'll see though. The 3D Creeper says, "I'm hoping the Rangers can get a win tonight, but I have a bad feeling." I'm confident heading into this one. I won't lie. I wasn't too confident heading into the last one because of this one tweet that I saw that stressed me out, where it was like before the last game against Buffalo, it was like, I have a feeling the Rangers are going to drop one of their next 2 games because if they win them both, they will then be on pace to beat Boston's record for like the best regular season of all time. And as soon as I read that, I was like, yeah, he's probably right because like I don't think the Rangers are ready for that conversation just yet. so then of course Buffalo
My bad. Going into that game, I was all over Twitter, just reading what everybody was thinking, and everybody was like, I think Ryan Mead was the first one I read who said, he was like, "This feels like a trap game," and I was like, "Why would you say that?" I took my brother to his first game on Monday, and at least it was close until the end. Then they blew it wide open, but I thought that they came out flat from the first, and I was like, well, hopefully they'll turn it around and they'll do the reverse of what they've been doing, which is starting really hot and cooling down a little bit. This time they started really cool and finished really cool. So, not the ending I wanted.
Yeah, I think that game against Buffalo, it was one of those games where within the first like 5 minutes, I was like, yep, this is going to be one of those games where the puck was bouncing everywhere. Every time we tried to pass it, we would either give it away or just lose control of it. And there was just like nothing going on. And I don't know. I had a bad feeling from the start. So I don't know. Hopefully the Rangers can turn it around tonight against Detroit without Patrick Kane playing as well. I need to just keep saying that because it makes me happy that he's not playing against the Rangers right now. Roderick, yes, you have been forgiven for being late. And hello, Cheyenne. Thank you. We're doing phenomenal. But yeah, Collin, you missed it earlier. We had a little bit of a discussion about Adam Fox coming back. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. Like, obviously he's good to play. He's been practicing without restrictions, but do you think there's going to be like adjustment period to get used to playing again, or is he just going to be the good old Adam Fox like he always been?
I think you'll see maybe a little bit of a lag in terms of the points. I think it'll take him a minute to get his scoring touch back, but not too long. I think it'll take him maybe 3 games at most. I think the defense will come back right away. You know what you're getting with Fox. He's just so good in his own zone most of the time. So, like, I think he'll slide in seamlessly again. Is he confirmed to play tonight?
Yeah, he's
Fox,
playing 100%. No,
nice.
there's no minutes restriction.
Okay, good. All right. Well, yeah. So I didn't know that. I had a busy day at work today. I wasn't able to get on my phone and check it all. But and then I came home and played Fortnite, of course. But I think he'll slide right back into the groove of things. That's kind of what happens with these world class players. They show up, they show out, and that's why they get paid the big bucks. Is just they are able to just pick it up where they left off so seamlessly. And hopefully it's the same case here with Adam Fox.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I'm just still in shock that, Adam Fox is like the backbone of the defense. So when he was put on the LTIR for a brief moment there, I was like, well, there goes the defense. Like, we're going to let in 5 goals a game for the next month. But somehow, some way, we didn't. The defense has looked better than ever. And Eric Gustafson is a big part to thank for that. He's stepped up incredibly. One of the best signings, I think, that we've seen in recent history. I know I saw a post yesterday that it was like out of every player in the NHL, it was like cheapest contract per point or something like that. And for like every dollar that the Rangers spend on Gustafson, it's like the highest point per dollar in the NHL out of every player. We got him for really cheap, and he's scoring a lot of points. So I'm happy about that. But speaking about points, let's discuss Artemi Panarin, the man here. Will, you've been silent the last few minutes. I'm just going to let you cook.
All right. Artemi Panarin, 11 goals, 19 assists, 30 points, went scoreless for three straight games before recording another point against the Flyers. He had a 15-game point streak that obviously was snapped against who was it? Was it the Stars? No, it wasn't the Stars. It was the next game. Can't remember who he played, but he's been playing great. I've been keeping track of how he's been doing in the first 20 games of this year and last year, and let me just tell you, it's a complete turnaround. I mean, obviously he still has the assists. He had 17 last year, 19 this year, but his goals, 6 more goals in the first 20 games is nuts. He's shooting the puck an absurd amount. He has 33 more shots on goal this year than last year. He only had 46 through 20 games last year. It was nuts. He's just doing a lot more. He's also forechecking, back checking. He's playing on defense, and he's working very well with Alexis Lafreniere. That's one thing that I like about that line is him and Lafreniere are cooking together. I mean, they are just going off, and it's not even that Panarin's only setting up Lafreniere. Lafreniere's setting up Panarin, and even when they're not scoring, the both of them are just look like they're having so much fun out there, and that's what you want to see with Lafreniere. So Artemi Panarin is insane this year, And I feel like, I mean, obviously, you know, we're used
So I
to
think
there, but
basically,
it needs to be talked about a lot more.
Just fighting through this lag, man. I'll touch on what he was saying, though. I agree. I think he's reaching another level. The shooting, he mentioned it a couple postseasons ago that he needed to do it more, and he's doing it more now, and it's working out for him. And to touch on Will's point about Lafreniere also setting up Panarin, I think that playing with Panarin has helped unlock that playmaking ability that Lafreniere was drafted for. He was drafted not only for his good finishing ability, his creativeness with the puck, but his vision. He was credited with having great vision when handling the puck, and so. I think that you're finally seeing that from him when he's playing. They're both playing with such confidence and poise, and they're both they know where to find each other at all times on the ice. They're in the right areas, so you know it's good to see.
yes. And before Will went back to the Stone Age there for a second, he did bring up Alexi Lafreniere, who I just want to touch upon next. Also, before I do touch upon that, I see we got a couple of people here in the chat. Make sure everyone, any questions or thoughts you have, be sure to comment them, and we'll pull them up on the screen and talk about it too. That's why we do these streams, to interact with you guys.
How
But
do I like to comment?
You don't like my comment?
No, how do I like a comment? Because I agree.
Alexi Lafreniere, the kids. He's the only kid remaining in the top 6. He's the only kid remaining on the team right now because the other 2 decided they wanted to get hurt. But I'm very impressed with Alexi Lafreniere, and I'm predicting a big game against him. Wasn't it against the Red Wings last time when he popped off and like went crazy and had like a 4.9, or was that against someone else?
That was against the Wild.
Or,
against Columbus and the Wild. Yeah. He had back-to-back 3-point nights, I'm pretty sure, or multi-point games.
Yeah,
one of his last games against the Red Wings, he went in between. I mean, I think it was like a season or 2 ago. He went between the legs for a nasty goal. He did the same thing against the Capitals last year, but he has no problem finishing against the Red Wings.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what Lafreniere does tonight. I'm just excited for that whole second line. I love Panarin. Everyone here knows that Panarin's my favorite player. I'm not wearing his jersey tonight, though, because my Panarin jersey is cursed, and every time I wear it, they lose. But I don't know. What was I even saying? Oh, yeah, Panarin. I love Panarin. I love Lafreniere. And I love Vincent Trocheck. I'm in full agreement that Trocheck should remain as the second line center. And I'm sure that both of you agree. Right.
Yeah, with the way he's been playing, it'd be hard to move him down.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It'd be hard to move him down the way him Panarin and Lafreniere are playing together.
Yeah. Also, Saz here in the chat did confirm it was against Columbus. He scored the game-winning goal and then won it in a shootout. I don't know why I thought it was the Red Wings. That's weird. The 3D Creeper asked, on the subject of Lafreniere, how many points do you think he'll have by the end of the season? Will, what is he at right now?
He's at 8, 4, and 12. He is projected for 33, 16, and 49. But obviously, if he gets his he'll get his assists up. I'm not too worried about that. I think he ends up with about 60 or around that.
Hey, anything north of 30 goals would be stupendous. That's great.
Yeah. I feel like it's also kind of hard to predict with Lafreniere because he is in the midst of a breakout. Yes, that's like confirmed. But he does it sporadically, where like he hasn't scored a point in the last couple of games, but then one of these days he's just gonna go off for like 4 points in a night, and then he'll go a couple games without scoring again, and then pop off again. So it's like it's so weird to make predictions, but I do think he's gonna find some level of consistency. And he'll keep it up.
See, the thing with Lafreniere is like, he kind of scores in spurts, but like, you know, when he's not, and I've said this before, when he wasn't on the score sheet last year, and you couldn't really notice you couldn't notice his game. Like this year, even though he's not getting on the score sheet, every single game I noticed Lafreniere. So it's not like he's still playing good. He's not a ghost. So I think, points. He'll consistently start getting points. I think. I mean, you know, that line has had some. He had a good setup to Panarin against the Bruins that Panarin shot wide. There's a couple times where Lafreniere has found Panarin or Panarin's found Lafreniere, and they both just can't put it in the net. But I mean, Lafreniere is just a completely different player than it has been the last 3 years. Like, he's just every night in and night out, he's playing a great game.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. You're 100% right. I just meant like points wise, but I also do agree with you in the fact that he will definitely score a lot of points. I maybe like 50 to 60. His career high came last year at 39, I think it was. So yeah, 50 to 60 ish. That's probably my prediction. Collin, I
think
don't know.
it's good bang for your buck right there, considering he's on a cheap bridge deal. I know it makes it tougher down the line, but we're in win now mode, so I ain't worrying about that. Yeah, if you're getting 60 points from him in a year where we were talking about trading him last year in a potential deal for Timo Meyer, I know Tony was big on it. I know you were on the fence about it, and even I'm pretty loyal when it comes to the Rangers guys and not trading them. But for Timo Meyer, I was a little interested. I won't lie. But I've been singing the same thing for Kakko. I think that if anything, this just proves the point that we have to be patient because these kids are still so young. I just figured out today. I was talking with somebody in one of our comment sections, I think on our last video, that Kakko's only 22. It feels like he's been in the league for 5 years, 4 years.
5 years.
5 years, but he's just a kid. Like most people, I think, are just graduating college at that age.
Yeah.
So like to expect him to produce at the NHL level at the rate that I mean, obviously it's not what we all had hoped it would be, but I'm not like completely done on him being an NHL star. I think he can definitely turn it around, just like we're seeing Lafreniere turn it around now. I think it's just going to take him a little longer, unfortunately, but I think that's just, if anything, it just preaches patience.
Yeah, that's how I always humble myself when I start to get frustrated with guys like Lafreniere and Kakko. I just remind myself that quite literally, Kaapo Kakko is only 2 weeks older than me. So, and I'm like, I could never do this. So, like, who am I to say? Someone else had a funny comment or like, they're like, it's so funny that you guys call them the kids because we're the ones that look like kids as we discuss it. I'm like, hey man, I am the same age as Kaapo Kakko. So it's understandable. I never thought about it that way. It's a funny way to put that into perspective. Bug Fuzz here says, shave your head, Eric, then you can wear the Panarin jersey. I've actually tested this theory back in 2020. I did shave my head during the pandemic, and I still wore the jersey, and the Rangers still always lost when I wear it. I think perhaps it's like I had to have been bald when Panarin was bald because he had long hair at the time, but who knows? I like my hair now. I don't plan on testing that theory anytime soon. I'll just keep wearing my Igor one. Bug Fuzz also then went on to say he's not standing around anymore, meaning Lafreniere. He's flying all over the ice, always in motion now. You're right, and you can thank Peter Laviolette for that. I think earlier today on Will's podcast, we had a little discussion about Laviolette, and we both agreed that Laviolette should be already a quarter of the way through the season in Jack Adams Award discussion. Now, Collin, I know you always like to say, like, oh, it's still early, but thoughts on that?
I think right now he should be the top candidate for the trophy. I know it is still early, but I think that there hasn't been any other coach who's came in and improved a team at the level that he has so far. I think that you look at this team from where they were last year to where they are now, and just like such a difference. I mean, we're talking about it on one of our previous episodes how Gallant should be charged with a federal crime because of the difference in between the record. And I know there wasn't a lot of point differences in terms of like, I think it was Will had the stats. I don't know if you still have them. There's somewhere.
Yeah, I have the stats up here.
But the goals weren't that far off from last year, and the goals against weren't that far off. We just weren't winning games. Like there was no close in the games, and I think that you're seeing it now, and you're seeing the goalies have a lot more help. And also keep in mind that Shesterkin was playing at the top of his game last year, and he's kind of faltered a little bit at the beginning of this year. And we've been playing with Quick, and Chesty's been injured, and even Domingue got a start in there. So like the goalie play, while it's been fantastic and we've been very lucky, they've also had a lot of help in the defense, more so than any other year that I can recall in the last. I can't say I've seen a team this defensively sound since Torts was going back to Torts. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and I think it's just because like with Gallant, we had a lot of scoring power, and that's why like we put up a lot of points, but there was no structure to it. There was no defense. So it's like, yeah, we were putting up like 3 or 4 goals per game, but we were letting in just the same amount. And so that's why like we were losing games. So shout out to Peter Laviolette. I think, again, me and Will discussed it earlier. All three of us, when the hiring first happened, were kind of just like, all right about it. Like, Collin, you always put it the best, where it was like a lateral move where we didn't really like make a mistake by doing it, but we didn't like make some like drastic improvement. And yeah, we were all wrong because looks like we have a Jack Adams early favorite at our hands right here. Just kind of just took this team of young guys and players that were getting older and kind of losing their touch and revitalized the energy. He saved Artemi Panarin from the depths of hell. That was the 2022-23 playoffs. JSK here in the chat says, I personally expect Othman to spend the season in the AHL, but do y'all think he spends the season in the NHL next year? I agree. I think he's going to spend this entire year in the AHL. Trust me, with the amount of injuries the Rangers have had, they've had their fair share of chances to call up Othman, and they have not done it yet. Johnny Brodzinski is cooking down in the AHL, so there's no reason not to call him up at this point in time. Let the hot hand come up and play. Let the young kid play out his first season in professional hockey with the same team, get everything going. And then maybe next year, I think it's a question of how well he performs for the remainder of this season, as well as what the Rangers roster looks like next year, because Othman's a natural left winger. And we have Kreider, Panarin, Cooley, and then you're not going to put Othman on the fourth line. So unless he's able to kind of transition to the right, like Lafreniere did this year, and then if the Rangers don't sign Blake Wheeler again to another deal, I hope not. Maybe there's room for Othman, but we'd have to see. Will, how do you feel about the whole Othman situation?
Yeah, I think I do think that it's good for him to stay down in the AHL for the entire year. He said himself during preseason that he thought it was also better for him to get to go down there and get some of those junior hockey, like just play style out of there. Just kind of have to adjust to the NHL, and obviously the AHL is not as good as the NHL, but that's most likely that's the type of game that is most likely going to resemble any NHL action. He has 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points, and he's on pace for 52 points with 20 goals and 32 assists. So, I think we will definitely see him on the opening night roster next year. Hopefully, maybe we see Gabe Perreault there too, but I don't know about that. That's a little too far in the future.
I'm actually happy that you just brought up Gabe Perreault, because that was going to be the next thing that I transitioned to. I'm trying to pull it up right now because I wrote an article about Perreault a couple days ago. He's been cooking it at BC. I don't have his points pulled up yet, but I have it right here. I think he's leading the team as a freshman, or he was a couple days ago when at the time that I wrote it. Yeah, he has 20 points in his first 12 games as an Eagle in the NCAA. Now, and I know like these like lower level leagues, there's a lot more goal scoring. Like a mediocre season in the OHL is like a point per game, but it's still pretty impressive. He's leading the team. He kind of reminds me of Panarin a little bit, where he's more of a passing playmaker. Like of his 20 points, I think that like 17 of them are all assists, and they're all beautiful assists too. If you ever look up highlights from him for this season. And to me, I feel like in a few years when Panarin either retires or resigns and is like moved to somewhere or something, like Perreault could definitely be lined up to just kind of fill in and just be like the new generation 2 Panarin type player. But I don't know. I like Collin. I don't know how caught up you are on the prospect stuff.
I know a little bit about Perreault. I've seen the clips. They show him every time on the MSG 150, and that's about as caught up as I am. Obviously, I follow him on Twitter and whatnot. I do follow Boston College, and he's looked good. I think he he's drafted for his, again, playmaking ability, similar to Lafreniere. He was a dog on that U.S. development team. I think he broke Matthews' point record.
Yep.
Which is just crazy, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's the guy he's playing with." But now he's moved on to the next level, and he's still leading the team in points, and he's still, he is that guy. But I'm not even. I gotta. It's gonna be a long time before we see him. Hopefully, I agree with what Bugfuzz said down in the comment section below. And I want to apply that to Othman too. I think too often we've seen the Rangers try to take these guys and force them into the NHL. And I think you just got to let them find their groove and come when they're ready. And I think that they'll let you know. I think that obviously everybody wants to get to the NHL, and that is the end goal. But you can sacrifice like good development, and it can really hamper a player's what's the word? When they're development. That's it. My apologies. But I don't want to rush anything and then them come in and put too much pressure on themselves and then not pan out like they were supposed to. And I think that's a big thing to bring it back again. What happened to Kakko? I think that he came in, he was supposed to be the savior, and then they got Panarin, and then they got Loff, and it's like then they're like, oh, you're not the savior anymore. Now we're winning, and it's like, oh crap, I'm not. I'm 20 years old. I'm not ready for all this. I barely speak any English. He's walking around. He's like, this is a nice city because it was on a index card that was handed to him by development or by the social media team. Like I barely spoke English, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be the guy. So I know this is different because these kids are both from North America, but still, I want to take my time, let them ride it out, and figure out all the kinks to their game and come to the Rangers fully ready like we did with Kreider. Kreider, we gave him the full amount of time. He came up in the playoffs whenever it was. I think it was like the 2011 or 2012. I think
2012.
Postseason, right? It was his first.
Yeah.
And he scored. He was an immediate impact, and I'd like to say that these guys have the potential to be better than him, and I want to see them do that, but we have to let them develop.
Yeah. And also just consider the fact that we don't need to. Like back when we got Kakko, we needed him in the NHL. Right now, you have a guy like Othman, and like, sure, man, like I'm itching to see this kid play for the Rangers just as much as of all of you, but why would you force him up into the NHL when you have Panarin already? You have Kreider, you have Cooley. Like we don't need to rush this guy's development like we kind of did with Kakko. Kakko, we kind of just like, all right, buddy, like you're coming in, you're the guy, like kind of like as you said, Collin, and he wasn't ready for it. But what other choice did the Rangers have? Othman, we have a choice. Perreault, we have a choice. We have a good team. Then we don't need these young stars to like throw a dart at the dartboard and hope they hit. Like, we have a win now team, and I'm very, very satisfied with how everything's been going so far.
I think you can also look at how the Kings handled Quentin Byfield. It's a perfect example. The Kings took Quentin Byfield, one pick after Lafreniere, and I think this is his second season, but he's been on an absolute tear. Maybe not. Maybe his first.
I think it's his third, but I think this will be his first full season.
Yeah, he's played stints. He's played stints in other seasons.
Yeah.
Correct me there, but he this will be his first full season, and he's been an absolute animal out the gate. I mean, NHL has just been all over it. It's been on my Instagram feed constantly. So like, sometimes you can take these guys really high overall, and you don't have to jam into the NHL. Yeah, the Kings had spots for him. But, why rush him? This guy's projected to be the next Anze Kopitar. Take your time with him. And now he's come in and he's roared to the front of the prospects that are currently playing. And I think he's making a name for himself. And I wish that is how we would have done it with our prospects. But I'm happy that it's all working out with Lafreniere right now. And I hope that it all works out for Kakko too.
Yeah, it kind of seems like we learned our lesson with developing prospects because we were really, really bad at it. But I think we're making the right call with Othman and Perreault. Will, were you about to say something before I cut you off?
I like to look at guys like, Rasmus Dahlin, Jack Hughes. Hughes comes into the league. Guy was supposed to, obviously the clear-cut number one, first overall pick. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Kakko could have been taken first overall, but it was always going to be Hughes. And it took him about 1, 2, 3. It was his fifth season when he broke out, obviously last year, and now he's getting going. Rasmus Dahlin didn't break out until last year, and Don Granato really helped him with that. It's really all about development, and sometimes development isn't linear. Sometimes it takes longer than others to break out. Obviously, it's not always going to be Connor McDavid. You're not going to have those type of guys, the Leon Draisaitl's. You're going to have those guys that come up. Takes a little bit of time to get adjusted to their game, and then once 99 points. So he's it's just it's not always linear. So, but I'm happy with what they're doing with Othman and Perot, and I think they're going to be very good NHLers when they do get their chance.
I agree with you there. The parts that I could hear, at least.
Great, it cut out again.
Only for a second. JSK says, all the news around Gabriel Perot doesn't make me happy and consistently surprised he fell to the Rangers. He did fall. I think that's a thing I always forget about, where he was projected to go a lot higher. And does anyone know the reason why he fell as he did?
It's his skating. He's kind of like Adam Fox. He's a very good playmaker, but their skating isn't the best, and that's kind of turned teams off because he was projected to go in the top 10, top 15. So I mean, he what do we have, the 27th pick maybe? Can't remember what pick it was.
That far back. I'm not sure though.
No, it was in the 20s. I remember it was early to mid 20s, and he fell because of his skating, and that's why a lot of Rangers fans didn't want him because of his skating. But look at Adam Fox. He's not 23rd. So he fell like 13 spots. And I mean, look at Adam Fox.
That's correctable. Like skating is correctable. He has the intangibles that you want in a player, and that skating is something that he can work on, and hopefully that the skating coaches at BC will help him with, and then eventually in the AHL, and then when he gets to the NHL, he'll be ready for that. But we don't want to put him in the NHL now, or like similar to what we were saying. Let him figure out the kinks in his game, and he's got plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's easier to get skating out than like to teach someone how to skate better than how to teach them hockey IQ and in the passing ability that Perot has like that. Same with Adam Fox. He's not the best skater. He's not as fast as Cale Makar, but he has that insane hockey IQ and insane vision on the ice that it works out. Same with Perot. He has insane vision. I've saw some of his cross ice going down the boards and just completely lays a perfect puck right to Ryan Leonard and they score. I mean, it's beautiful. Can't teach that kind of thing. I lagged again?
Oh
my God. I got to call my internet company. God.
That one was only like one word.
Yeah, I could have called that 2.5 flags, but I think it's funny.
I'm going to change my jersey. I'm changing into the Fox one. I didn't know he was playing tonight. I feel underdressed.
Oh, yeah, what jerseys are you guys wearing today? I guess when Collin comes back, he'll tell us.
I said it earlier. I'm wearing the Igor one because, as I mentioned earlier, my Panarin one is cursed, even though it's my favorite one. I only wear it on non-game days. So I had a choice between Lafreniere, Kakko, and Igor because my Kreider one is at home. So I was thinking I wore the Lafreniere one last game. That didn't work out. And then Kakko, he's been banished to the LTIR for the next couple months. So, Igor's what I went with for tonight.
I like it. What about you, Collin? Obviously, Fox.
Now I got my Fox on. I almost wore the Kakko in support, but I was like, well, Mika's been hot, so I guess I'll do that. And now that I know that Fox is back, I had to change it up.
That's all good. What are you wearing, William?
I'm wearing the Keandre Miller from the 2021-22 season with the Rajo Bear patch on it. So, yeah.
That's kind of sick.
This is my favorite jersey I own. It's also the one that cost the most, so I had I keep it. It's like I keep it in like a little, when you wear a suit and it's like you keep it in one of those bags. So I keep it in.
Smart.
Get ruined.
I like that. We're all repping defense and goaltending today. It's going to be a good night for the defense. I'm not going to say the word, but what could happen.
We're going to shut them down.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's see. Collin, your biggest fan, is back in the chat.
What's going on, Astle?
We're going to keep going for, I guess, another 20 minutes because I'll give Collin time to go wherever he's going to watch the game because he always complains when we end right before puck drops.
No, I just don't get to see the national anthem or the actual puck drop, and sometimes I miss the first goal. But as long as they win, maybe we should keep it a tradition where I show up or I'm going late. Up to you guys.
That's true, but we'll still keep it another 20 minutes. So to all 18 of you that are watching in the chat right now, be sure to drop all of your questions and comments so we have time to respond to them, because once we have like 5 minutes left, that's when we got to do our score predictions. And Will's frozen again, but his parlay that he always cooks up. You're back. It's okay.
Cool. What's up? That's 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I kind of touched upon everything. Is there anything specific you two want to talk about?
I want to talk about that third line, that fourth line, the bottom 6 as a whole. I think that's first, before we get into that, I actually really want to show Kreider some love. I know there's been a lot of comments on the channel about us not giving Kreider the recognition he deserves. So let's dedicate a couple minutes to Chris Kreider.
I'm going to start off really quick, because when who did I record with yesterday? Was it you, Will, or 2 days ago? Yeah. I mentioned it in the episode when I called someone out, and I was like, I see all these comments, and they're like, Eric, why are you so hard on Kreider? He's doing so good. And I'm like, I've never been hard on him. Just because I don't sit here and like talk about how much I love him like I do to Panarin doesn't mean I think he's playing bad. I do think he's been playing phenomenal, and I love Chris Kreider. He's one of my favorite Rangers. And he's been doing great. He's scoring goals. He's netting assists. He's the power play merchant. And I got nothing bad to say about him. That's my official statement. I love Christopher James Kreider, signed Eric Wilson. Up to you, Will.
I love Big Jet No Pilot. I love his nickname. I figured that was one of his nicknames a couple days ago when Puck Reference put all the nicknames on for the NHL, and I think that's one of my favorite nicknames in the NHL. Big Jet No Pilot. Guy just goes so fast and doesn't know when to stop. Can't stop because he doesn't have anything in his brain.
Did he get that nickname when he crashed into Carey Price?
I think so, but I don't know. He was tripped. He was tripped, Loki.
Anyway, he's been on a tear to start the season, better than last. And I think every time that we think he can't get any better, he comes out and he surprises us. I know that one season he had the 50 goals. Obviously, he regressed a little bit, but 50 goals is a hard task to get to every time. And I thought he still had a really good season last year, and now he's building on that. And he started off the season kind of carrying that first line while Mika is getting going here. And obviously he started to get going in these last couple. He had a power play goal against Buffalo, 2 against the Flyers, and he had a couple points in that Boston game. So, it's good to see him kind of waking up a little bit and shaking the rust off. But I think that we can attribute that first line success thus far to Christopher James Kreider, and we can hope that he can keep his hot streak going and keep being not only the best deflector, but best net front presence in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is also my opinion. It used to be Joe Pavelski, but now it's Chris Kreider, because Joe Pavelski is kind of like an old man now. But he's still in the league, right? Is he still on?
Yeah, he's still at the Stars.
Yeah. But I love Kreider, and I'm sorry that I don't talk about him enough. That's my official apology. The 3D Creeper asked, do you think Shesterkin can still make a case for Vezina? Yeah, I mean, it's obviously possible. It's only November 29th. We're like, I think after tonight, we're like a quarter of the way through the season. So there's still plenty of time for him to turn things around. He hasn't been bad by any means. Like I can name at least half the league that would pay a lot of money to have the way Igor's playing right now, have their goaltenders play that way too. It's just, we're so spoiled as Rangers fans that we haven't had a bad goaltender in like 20 years, because Lundqvist carried us for like a full decade. And then now Igor is kind of just coming in and doing the same thing. So
and we had Richter before that too.
And Van Beesbrook for a little bit.
Yeah, it never ends.
We have great goaltending development. But it's still possible. He's really going to have to turn things around still, though, because there are a lot of good goalies in the league. So obviously right now he's not in the conversation for Vezina, but that doesn't mean that he can't be, with a couple of really great games strung together. But I don't know. I'm assuming you guys agree, but I'll let one of you say it. I don't care.
A lot of the elite NHL, elite goalies coming into the season, you look at UC Saros, Hellebuck, Markstrom, Shesterkin, Sorokin, those guys. Obviously, Vasilevsky, I can't say anything about because he just came back. They're all really not playing that great. Goaltenders in general aren't playing that great in the NHL this year. So, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a wonky year to start the season. I don't know. It's weird, but I think he'll still he'll make himself a case for the Vezina. I mean, you can't. Obviously, he's a little bit rusty right now because he's coming back from an injury. But I think tonight is going to be one of his biggest games to start the year, or in this early start of the year, because obviously how the last couple games have looked. They haven't been great, but I still think he'll make himself a case for the Vezina at some point in the season. Probably soon. He'll get back on track.
Yeah, especially after that the stick slam. Like some might say that is the Jacob Trouba helmet throw of this season. Even though we didn't really need it, I feel like Igor just got pissed off for like 20 seconds.
I was just mentioning this earlier. I said it's great to see a team we're 15-4-1, and Igor is pissed when we lose a game. And that's great. You want to see a team play with that kind of fire under them, that rage and that passion, that even when you lose a game and you're still second in the league and to have such a stranglehold on your division at this current moment in time, that nothing is a given, and night in and night out, you want to go and put your best thing out there. And I think that it's different from teams in the past where like we'd lose and there would just be no emotion, and they go out there and then they would put another flat effort out, and it's like they'd string together these losing streaks, and then no one would seem to give a crap. They go into the locker room, they talk a little bit about it, but they they give the media what they want to hear, and then they just go and they produce the same thing. And I think that's what it was up until the helmet throw last year. And I think that we already have that winning mentality. But when you get mad after stringing together a 10-game point streak, then a loss, and then like a 3-game or 5-game point streak, 7-game point streak, 7-game win streak, and then a loss, and then another 3, and then a loss. Like we're losing so rarely, and yet they're still so mad, arguably more mad now that it happens than they were last year. And I think that just it speaks to just how special this team is and can be going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we say all the time, like, oh, like it's impossible to win every game. Like the Rangers are going to lose at some point. We say that because we're fans and we need to cope when we get sad that they lost. The players, like you said, Collin, you put it pretty much perfectly. The Rangers need to get angry with losses. They need to use it as motivation, fuel the fire. Today is kind of like a redemption game for the Rangers. There is absolutely zero excuses for the performance they had against Buffalo. It was a pathetic game that was played extremely poorly, and I want to see every Ranger on their A game tonight and make me happy because I haven't been able to watch a Rangers win in like a week or so because I missed the game against Boston. So it's been a minute. JSK asks, should Cooley be in the top 6? I'm going to give a very firm no as my opinion on this. Is one, because I'm very satisfied with our top 6 right now. Like the first line of Kreider, Zibanejad, Wheeler, but he's fine as a placeholder for now. And then Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, they're perfect. So I don't want to see anyone have to get demoted in place of someone else, even if it was someone else other than Cooley. But I also think that, like, let's just say, like, Wheeler just decides to retire after tonight. If someone had to get promoted up into the top 6, I wouldn't really support it being Cooley because I think he fits that bottom 6 role so perfectly, kind of like a more defensive role. Will is once again lagging. A more defensive role where he's like grinding and making hits, and this is like that style of hockey. Compared to the top 6, it's kind of like the same way how we say, like, you don't put a player like Othman in the bottom 6. You don't want to put a player like Cooley in the top 6. But that's my take on it. Collin, you're the lucky man who gets to talk next. Will just recently got back from the abyss.
I'll say I like Cooley. I think that he could down the line maybe play a top 6 role because if he, like, you look at a guy like Cooley and he models his game around a guy that we all love to hate, Tom Wilson. But Tom Wilson, as much as I hate the guy, he's a really good hockey player. He puts up points. He gets under the skin. Not to the same level that Brad Marchand does. Marchand is definitely better at putting up the points. But, like, you have guys now, those hybrid guys, where it's not just grinders and bruisers and enforcers, but, like, a mix of not only can Cooley drop the gloves, but in the AHL, he was our leading point scorer last year. And I think that means something. I think that you have to take that into account. Would I give him that role now? No, I don't think so. I think that we're definitely set in the top 6. But down the line, if he's around long enough and he can keep bettering himself and become more of an offensive threat, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it, just not at this current moment in time.
I agree with you, Colin. I don't think at this moment in time we got a good thing working with Wheeler up on that first line. I think Cooley is perfectly suited for that third line. I cannot see the Rangers moving him up right now. Maybe if there's an injury, but not right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of in agreement with that. Sorry. Michael here says, was Coach Laviolette making a statement by playing quick against the Bruins the other night? Also, before I dive deep into that, I just want to acknowledge Matt really quick. Benoit Allaire, best goaltending development coach in the entire NHL. I had to put that out there. Was Laviolette making a statement by playing quick against the Bruins the other night? I personally don't think so. Laviolette and his coaching style, it's very rare. And I guess most coaches, it's very rare that in back-to-back games like that, like one game the day after the other, the same goalie gets to start 2 times in a row. So Igor got to start first, and we're at a point where our backup is so good that there's not really a risk when playing him. You know, in years past, I would have felt scared about it, but not with Quick. Will, I know you want to discuss it, so I'll let you get into it.
Yeah, I do not like when I see people saying this. And on Twitter, a lot of people were trying to make a goalie controversy. There is no goalie controversy. They played a back-to-back games at 1:00. If it was a 7:00 game, I think Igor would have started, but it's back-to-back at 1:00. You're traveling back to New York after that game. He played a hard game against the Flyers, and he played very well. I just think this year, I think with Jonathan Quick playing the way he is, you have to give him starts against top teams because you feel confident that you feel confident that you can give Igor rest against these top teams. It's not like last year when Halak started out the year 0-6-1 and you had to play Igor all these games. You have to give Igor rest against these top teams this year because it's going to help him a lot going into the playoffs. Last year, we saw him before the playoffs. He had a month stretch where he was not playing to the best of his ability, and that was because he was playing so much in the beginning of the season. The guy was just so tired carrying the team. So, no, Coach Laviolette was not trying to make a statement. I just think that the way Quick has been playing, you can give Igor rest against top teams.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a problem the Rangers have had a lot recently, in recent years, I mean to say, where Igor gets overworked, and then when the playoffs come around, he's tired. We saw it with Hank too, and then we started to see it with Igor because we just haven't had, in my opinion, we had Cam Talbot as backup. He was phenomenal. Then was Antti Ranta next, or was there someone?
Yeah,
well, Skapski had a little bit of a stint, but he was in between Talbot and
Ranta was also really good, but then I feel like since then, Halak was he was pretty good, but I would never start him against a incredible Boston team like that. I think since I probably wouldn't even start Ranta against a Boston team like that. Since Talbot, I think Quick is the first goalie, backup goalie, where I'm yes, I don't care that we are starting him against the number 1 team in the league. But I don't know. Collin, you didn't talk about this yet, did you? I don't know if you have.
No. But I was going to say, Georgiev was pretty solid, too. I feel like we forget that he was also a bit of a
2019-20, that season was really good.
Yeah. So, I think he was pretty solid. But I think you're right. I think you both made points. I think going back to his tenure in Washington, you could tell that he never was willing to start the goalies on the back-to-backs. It was always a split between Kemper and Lindgren. And when you have 2 goalies who are playing as well as they are, the way that the game has shifted, it's a league of tandems. Outside of Vasilevsky and Hellebuck and Saros, I feel like most teams have tandems. The real competitors have tandems. And so I think that's important, especially to the longevity of the team. You look at the Devils last year with Schmid and Vanacek. You look at the Hurricane with Anderson and Ranta, and you look at the Bruins with Swayman and Olmark. I think that to succeed in today's NHL, it's very important to have a solid backup and to allow your starter to take that rest. and when you have the opportunity to do so, take full advantage of it. I think that's the main reason why he did it, and I think that to what Will was saying before, the fact that Quick has been playing so good this season, it just allows Laviolette to make the moves that he's made and give Chesty that rest.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna just quickly fly through a couple of these comments here because we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes. So to everyone watching us in the live chat, any final thoughts or questions you want us to answer, drop them now, because we will be wrapping up soon. But I'm just gonna say, Matt says, "Is tonight a must win?" When you play for the New York Rangers, every game is a must win. It's that simple. But like if the Rangers win tonight, they reclaim the throne as the #1 team. So I'm gonna say yes, please win, because I don't like seeing Vegas on top. Matt said, the other Matt says, it's both heartbreaking and hilarious that Kane's first game as a Red Wing is against us. Patrick Kane will not be playing tonight. That is confirmed. He said hopefully within the next 7 to 10 days will be his Red Wings debut. He practiced with the team today at MSG, but he will not be hitting the ice unless he changes his mind in the next 30 minutes. Let's see. Collinalcabes, our biggest fan here, says, what are your thoughts on when Igor gets out of the net to get the puck? Do you get nervous? Of course I get nervous when my goalie leaves the net, but the only thing that overtakes me more than the nerves is excitement, because I know one of these days he's going to score a goal when he does that. But
I'm cool with them doing it when they have an empty net, but every time I didn't like it when Hank did it. I didn't like it when Georgiev did it, when Talbot did it, when anybody did it. I hate when goalies come out to play the puck. When they have the time and the space, I'm all for it. But I feel like, especially in that Buffalo game, there was a couple times he came out and there was guys bearing down with the way that the Rangers were playing and turning the puck over. I was scared that we were going to see something similar to what happened with Vegas the other night. I think it was Hill went to make a pass, absolutely fanned on it, and somebody ended up just potting an easy goal. And I know that's why Carter's bringing it up, is because I was making a big fuss about it the other night at the game. I did not like that he was coming out and playing the puck as much as he was.
I don't know.
I like when he comes out and play the puck.
I trust him. I feel like
he's a great.
That scares me sometimes, man.
He's a
I
great
trust
handler.
him. It's the people that he's passing it to that I don't entirely trust, especially with the way the game was going the other night. There was just, in the first minute, there was a bad turnover right in front of the net, and Chesty had to make a nice glove save. And I was like, well, he's sharp tonight, boys. But, like, that shouldn't be happening, especially in the first minute. Like, it's just, when we got turnovers like that, it makes me scared when he's trying to get the puck to those guys.
Yeah.
He had a shot on goal against the Flyers.
Yeah.
One of these days it's going to go in. He's going to score a goal at some point. I know it. Let's see. Collin says Georgiev is much better on the Avs. I'm going to tell you why really quick. It's because he has a coach and a defense that cares. Gerard Gallant didn't care, right? Georgiev was on the team with Gallant. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe he was.
Yep.
Yeah. And he was on the team with who was the young guy before him? David Quinn, who also didn't give a shit about defense.
Yeah, and neither of them had any defensive structure. I guarantee if Georgiev were on the Rangers this season, he would be playing at the same level that Quick is. Maybe not as good, but like he is on the Avs, where like there's actual defense being played and it's not just Igor being a brick wall. Matt with the best reference of the night. Quick is Marty McFly, and he came here in a time machine from 2012. It does look like he's hitting a second prime, and I've been saying this a lot recently, where I'm getting a little nervous because it's the 10-year anniversary of when LA beat us in the Cup Finals, and both the Rangers and the Kings happen to be really good this year. So knowing our luck, we will face them again on the decade anniversary. But difference is we have Quick this time. So, and not that he would be playing in a Stanley Cup Finals. I'm sure Igor would get it. But if something weird happens, like Igor is just gets bored and wants to take a week-long break, it'd be kind of cool to see Jonathan Quick get another ring against his former team with the Rangers. But I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. He's been playing really, really good. Will, I'm going to pass this one off to you because I don't feel like breaking down money. With Phil and Kako out, what does that do for cap space?
Pretty sure we have about a little bit over $6 million on LTIR. But obviously, as we know, LTIR money, once the player comes back, we lose it. So, and Filipino, I don't know when he's coming back. I doubt the Rangers do anything with the LTIR pool because retroactive to November 3rd when he went out. He was obviously put onto the LTIR yesterday, but 10 games so he can be activated whenever they feel ready to have him back. So about 6 million, but probably a little bit just 2 because Heedle will probably most likely come back sometime soon. Get that money back once you use it. So
yeah, that is true. Let's see what we got here. We're gonna start wrapping it up. I'm gonna rapid fire through the rest of these. So after everyone watching, drop your score predictions down below, and then we'll hit ours in just a couple seconds. Matt says David Quinn is coming back to MSG on December 3rd. Is he coaching right now in the NHL?
Yeah, for the Sharks.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah.
And watch, that'll be a game that we somehow manage to lose. Anytime anybody comes back or it's a rookie goalie or somebody's getting their first point, that's the way that the Rangers roll.
When I just read that, I was like, what team would hire him? But it makes sense now that I know it's the Sharks. And I understand why they've been playing the way that they have been.
Were you referencing the heater they started off with this season? They were 0 I don't even remember what it was. 0-8, 0-9.
Yeah. Let's see. Roger says, yes, I understood the Back to the Future reference, but I don't recognize what reference he made from the 90s earlier. Say it again, and we'll see if I do. JSK says, quick as the Stanley Cup final. Good luck charm. Any team, LA, Vegas. Now the Rangers, I hope. Matt predicts a 4-3 win for the Rangers. Roger did help me confirm that Quinn is in his second season with the Sharks. That just shows you how much I know about the rest of the teams in this league. Like, ask me anything about the Rangers, anything about the Islanders, Devils, anyone in the Metro. I'm like, boom, I know it. Send me out west. You lost me. No score prediction, but Lafreniere is scoring a goal tonight, 100%. JSK, if Lafreniere scores a goal, DM me on X, or I don't know if my thing's inverted, wherever my tag is, and remind me, and I'll give you a shout out in the final score post. All right. Lafren Bread gonna tear it up tonight. I hope so. Matt says good night. San Jose gave up 10 goals in back-to-back games. Quintessential David Quinn. That's Quinn at his peak.
Yeah, that is textbook Quinn.
Yeah. And then Bug Fuzz says 5-1. I'm assuming you're going to say Rangers win. So let's get into this, boys, as we wrap up. Got to give our score predictions. It will me, then Collin, then Will, because Will needs to end it with his parlay of the night. I think, because I got to think, Kane isn't playing. Larkin is out. So outside of DeBrincat, and I don't know, DeBrincat, right? Who else?
They got Kopp, they got Perron, they got Sider, they got some guys, they got some shooters.
Yeah, they got some guys. I think they're gonna at least put in one or two. I'm gonna say 4-2 Rangers win, 6.9 from Artemi Panarin.
6.9. I'm gonna 4-2 win. I'm gonna agree with my brother here in the comments. 3-2. I think that the Rangers have had a hard time potting the empty netters. So I'm thinking 3-2. It's gonna be. I think we'll have it 3-1 in hand, and they'll get one more later in the period, and then we'll shut them down.
That's valid.
All right.
Now pass it over to Will. See what he's cooking up.
I cooked up the most dangerous parlay. There's one that's very risky. I'm going with 4-1 Ranger win. DeBrincat's going to score on the power play. And I'm going with Panarin, Cooley, Lafreniere, and Shesterkin's potting one at 5v5.
That's the dangerous one right there.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
The dangerous one is Benino.
At 5v5.
Yeah, at 5v5.
He's picking the corner.
Like, what's gonna happen is Husso's gonna be skating off to the bench, but he's gonna have the puck, so it's still gonna count as 5v5 because he's still on the ice and he's gonna score. So it technically is an empty net, but technically not because Husso's still on the ice.
Remember that goal we scored against LA a while back? Or I think it was McDonough just launched it down the ice and then it bounced.
Weird hop on quick. I do remember that.
Now imagine Henrik had shot that. All right, that's what Igor is gonna do.
Exactly. It's gonna hit off some. Yeah, it's gonna hit off Husso. Yeah. Just trust me, it's gonna happen.
I trust you. I'm putting money down on that parlay. Igor is going to score a goal tonight. You heard it here first. But that about wraps up our preview live stream of tonight's game. The Rangers will take on the Detroit Red Wings in about 26 minutes at the time that I'm doing this outro. So it should be a good game. We'll obviously be updating you all with highlights and updating news throughout the game on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers on both Instagram and X. So be sure to give those a check and follow those as well for more Rangers content throughout the year. But thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a notification. We're not on Apple or Spotify for this one, so you can still give us a high five. But make sure to come back to this video throughout the game as well. Leave your comments on here as well if you don't want to check out the social medias. But that about wraps this one up. Everyone have a phenomenal night. We'll be back tomorrow to give you more Rangers content. Have a good one, and
Let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers.